The bathroom tiles were cold against my cheek when consciousness started creeping back. I could hear voices above me, angry, dismissive, familiar. My blood felt like syrup in my veins, my brain struggling to process thoughts through the hypoglycemic fog. "Get up and stop your drama," my father shouted, his voice seeming to come from very far away. "She's just trying to skip chores again." I tried to speak, to move, but my body wouldn't cooperate. This was the third severe low this week, and each time my family's response was the same: annoyance, accusations, denial. "Seriously, Megan, this is getting old," my sister Brittany added, stepping over my legs to get to the sink. "Mom needs help with dinner, and you're here playing dead." Playing dead. As if I chose to have type 1 diabetes. As if I enjoyed the feeling of my brain shutting down from lack of glucose. My mother's voice drifted in from the hallway. "Is she doing it again? Just leave her. She'll get up when she's hungry enough." But I couldn't get up. My blood sugar was crashing, and I needed glucose tablets, juice, anything. The CGM, continuous glucose monitor, on my arm was beeping frantically, showing 42 milligrams per deciliter and dropping. Anything below 70 was dangerous. Below 40 could mean seizures, coma, death. "Please," I managed to whisper. "Juice." "There she goes with the juice thing again," Brittany laughed. So dramatic. It's always "I need juice" or "I need my insulin." Such an attention seeker. My 16-year-old body was eating itself, breaking down muscle tissue to find any available glucose. Without intervention, my brain would shut down completely. But my family had decided months ago that my diabetes was either fake or exaggerated, despite the diagnosis, despite the hospital stays, despite the endocrinologist's warnings. 20 minutes passed. Or maybe 5. Time moves strangely when your brain is starving. Finally, my blood sugar must have stabilized just enough from my liver dumping emergency glucose, because I managed to crawl to my room and collapse on my bed, fumbling for the glucose tablets I kept hidden in my nightstand. As I chewed them desperately, I thought about how it had come to this. The diagnosis had come 2 years ago, at age 14. Classic symptoms: excessive thirst, weight loss, fatigue. The hospital stay had been scary but validating. Finally, an answer to why I felt so terrible. But my parents had been skeptical from the start. Type 1 diabetes just appears out of nowhere? Dad had scoffed. Convenient. Right when she's struggling in school. The doctor said it's an autoimmune condition. I'd tried to explain. My pancreas stopped producing insulin. It's not something I can control. Everyone's got some condition these days, Mom had said. When I was young, we just pushed through. You can't push through a non-functioning organ, but they didn't want to hear it. At first, they'd grudgingly allowed me to manage my condition. But every blood sugar check, every insulin injection, every careful calculation of carbs was met with eye rolls and comments about my performance. Things got worse when I started having severe hypoglycemic episodes. The first time I'd had a seizure from low blood sugar, they'd waited 10 minutes before calling 911, convinced I was faking. The paramedics had been horrified at my blood sugar reading of 28. "This is life-threatening," the EMT had told them. "When a diabetic says they need sugar, you give them sugar. Immediately." But my parents had constructed their own narrative. I was using diabetes as an excuse to be lazy, to get attention, to eat candy whenever I wanted. Never mind that I'd rather eat a regular meal than be forced to consume glucose tablets at 3 a.m. while shaking and sweating. The breaking point came when I got my new continuous glucose monitor. The Dexcom G6 didn't just check my blood sugar, it recorded everything. Every reading, every pattern, every rapid drop and dangerous spike. I'd begged for it for months, finally getting it through a program at the hospital when my parents refused to upgrade from finger sticks. They didn't know about the memory function. They didn't know it was documenting every ignored low, every dismissed high, every moment they'd left me unconscious on the floor. 2 weeks after the bathroom incident, I had my regular endocrinologist appointment. My parents didn't come. They never did anymore, claiming they were enabling my attention-seeking by attending. I took the bus, clutching my phone with my CGM data. Dr. Patel knew something was wrong the moment she saw me. I'd lost more weight, my hands were shaking, and the dark circles under my eyes told the story of countless nighttime lows I'd had to treat alone. "Megan, how have your blood sugars been?" she asked gently. They haven't been good," I admitted. "I keep having severe lows, but my family..." I trailed off, the familiar shame rising. Who would believe that parents would ignore their child's medical emergency? "May I download your CGM data?" she asked. I nodded, and she connected my receiver to her computer. As the data populated on her screen, I watched her face change from concern to alarm to something that looked like rage. "Megan," she said slowly, "I'm seeing 47 readings below 50 in the past 2 weeks. 18 below 40. 3 separate instances where you were below 30 for extended periods." She turned the screen toward me. "This pattern here? This shows prolonged hypoglycemia without treatment. These gaps suggest loss of consciousness." The graph was damning. Jagged valleys showing my blood sugar crashing, staying low for dangerous periods, then slowly climbing as my body fought to survive without help. "Your family isn't helping you when you're low?" It wasn't really a question. The dam broke. I told her everything. The accusations of faking. Being left unconscious on floors. Having my supplies hidden because they thought I was abusing them. Being told I was dramatic when I begged for juice during a low. Dr. Patel's hands were shaking as she picked up her phone. "I need to make some calls. This is medical neglect, Megan. It's abuse." Within an hour, social services was involved. The CGM data was like a black box recorder of neglect. Indisputable evidence that I'd been in life-threatening hypoglycemic states repeatedly without intervention. The social worker, Ms. CHORES, reviewed the data with growing disgust. "This shows you were below 40 milligrams per deciliter for over an hour on Tuesday. Where was your family?" "They said I was faking to get out of doing dishes," I whispered. "And this one, Sunday at 3 a.m. Below 35 for 90 minutes. They lock my door at night so I can't sneak food. I couldn't get to the kitchen." Each data point told a story of neglect. The monitor had faithfully recorded every moment my family had chosen not to believe me, not to help me, not to save my life. When my parents were called in, they came armed with their usual dismissals. "She's always been dramatic," my mother told Ms. Torres. "These episodes only happen when she wants something." "The data doesn't lie," Dr. Patel said firmly. "This shows severe, untreated hypoglycemia. Multiple instances where she could have died. She probably manipulated the device," my father said. "She's very tech-savvy." Dr. Patel pulled up a different screen. "This shows her insulin dosing history. She's been extremely careful with her doses. If anything, she's been underdosing to avoid lows, which explains these high readings. She's trying to keep herself alive despite lack of support." The evidence was overwhelming. The CGM had recorded 147 episodes of hypoglycemia below 70 milligrams per deciliter in 1 month. 62 episodes below 54 milligrams per deciliter, level 2 hypoglycemia. 23 episodes below 40 milligrams per deciliter, severe hypoglycemia. Multiple extended periods of dangerously low blood sugar without intervention. Patterns showing delayed treatment during waking hours when family was present. "This device," Ms. Torres said, holding up the receiver, "has documented systematic medical neglect. You've been informed of a life-threatening condition and chosen to ignore it." "We thought she was exaggerating," my mother said weakly. "Exaggerating unconsciousness?" Dr. Patel's voice was ice. "Exaggerating seizures?" "Exaggerating readings from a medical device." My sister Brittany tried to interject. "She uses it to get out of things." "No," Dr. Patel cut her off. "She has a serious medical condition that you've all chosen to ignore. This data shows she's been fighting to stay alive while you accused her of faking." The legal process moved quickly after that. Armed with months of CGM data, hospital records, and documentation of untreated hypoglycemic episodes, the case was clear. I was removed from the home and placed with my aunt, who immediately set about learning everything she could about type 1 diabetes. The contrast was stark. The first time I had a low with her, she dropped everything to help. No questions, no accusations, just immediate action. "Orange juice?" she asked, already heading to the kitchen. You believe me?" I started crying. "The monitor is literally beeping, honey. Why wouldn't I believe you?" My parents were charged with medical neglect and endangerment. At trial, the prosecutor presented my CGM data like evidence from a crime scene. "This graph shows Megan's blood sugar at 32 milligrams per deciliter at 11:47 p.m. It remained below 40 for 73 minutes. During this time, her parents were home, awake, and according to witness testimony, told her to stop faking and go to bed. My father's lawyer tried to argue they couldn't have known how serious it was. The defendant attended diabetes education at diagnosis, the prosecutor countered. He was explicitly told that blood sugar below 70 requires immediate treatment. Below 40 is a medical emergency. Yet this data shows pattern after pattern of ignored emergencies. My mother broke down on the stand. We just thought she was so dramatic about everything, always needing special attention with her diabetes. Special attention like not dying? The prosecutor asked. They were convicted. 3 years probation, mandatory education about medical neglect, and loss of custody. Brittany went to live with our grandparents, who promised to take her type 2 diabetes risk seriously, something my parents had also ignored. I thrived with my aunt. My A1C improved dramatically when I wasn't afraid to treat my lows. My time in range increased from 42% to 78%. The dark circles faded. I gained back healthy weight. Your control is excellent, Dr. Patel said at my follow-up. This is what happens when diabetes is properly supported. I looked at my CGM graph, steady, controlled, safe. No more valleys of desperation. No more mountains of untreated highs. Just the gentle waves of managed diabetes. The monitor saved my life, I said. No, she corrected. The monitor provided evidence. You saved your life by continuing to fight even when no one believed you. Now, I speak at diabetes camps about the importance of support systems. I show my old CGM graphs, with permission from my lawyer, to illustrate what medical neglect looks like in data form. This isn't what diabetes has to be, I tell newly diagnosed kids and their parents. With support, with belief, with basic care, you can thrive. Some parents cry when they see my old data. The dramatic valleys, the prolonged lows, the clear evidence of a child left to manage a life-threatening condition alone. How did you survive? One mother asked. Stubbornness, I said. And a device that couldn't be gaslit. My CGM is smaller now, more advanced. But I still download the data regularly, still look at those steady, supported lines. They're proof that diabetes isn't drama. It's not attention-seeking. It's not fake. It's a serious condition that requires support, understanding, and above all, belief. The old data lives in my medical files and court records, thousands of data points that say, this happened. This was real. This child almost died while her family called her a faker. But the new data tells a different story. This is what happens when someone believes you. This is what support looks like. This is what living, not just surviving, looks like. Every steady line on my graph is a small victory. Every well-treated low is proof that I deserved better. Every good day is evidence that diabetes isn't drama. It's just life, when you're allowed to live it.